My loving audience take my love and subscribes my channel. And dive B&B stories. Was it just a simple mistake? Or is Will Spencer playing a really dangerous game with everyone's hearts? Think about it for a second. One minute he is telling his mom how much he misses his ex, and the next he is getting cozy with her absolute best friend. It makes you wonder what is actually going on in his head, right? This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, the tension finally exploded at the beach house, and it was honestly hard to watch. Katie Logan did what any protective mother would do. She looked her son right in the eye and asked the question we have all been thinking. She asked him why he is hooking up with Dylan if he still has feelings for Electra. And the way Will handled it? Well, it tells us a lot about the kind of man he is turning into. You have to look at the setup here to really get why Katie is so frustrated. She isn't just nagging her son. She is genuinely worried that Dylan is taking advantage of him while he is vulnerable. But Will isn't having any of it. He is basically shrugging off his mother's warnings like they are just background noise. The funny thing is, Will thinks he is being smart. He is taking advice from his dad, Bill, and his brother Liam. And let's be real for a second. Since when did Bill or Liam become the experts on healthy, stable relationships? They basically told him to just move on and have some fun. So now Will is out here trying to have a fun romance with Dylan because he is tired of all the drama and interference that ruined things with Electra. But here is my take on that. You can't just flip a switch on your feelings. If you have to use your ex's best friend to move on, are you actually moving on? Or are you just trying to stay as close to the flame as possible without getting burned? It feels less like a new romance and more like a messy rebound that is destined to blow up in everyone's faces. And then we have to talk about the workplace drama, because things are getting seriously uncomfortable at Forrester Creations. Electra is not just sitting at home crying over Will. She is using her power at the company like a weapon. She actually cornered Dylan and reminded her exactly who is in charge. She told her, "I am Electra Forrester. If I wanted it, you're gone." Now ask yourself, is that fair? Electra is a talented jewelry designer. And she has more influence than ever now that RJ is making big moves at the company. But using your professional status to threaten a bartender's job because she's dating your ex? That is a total villain move. It's a classic power play. She can't control Will's heart anymore, so she is going to control Dylan's paycheck. It shows how insecure she actually feels. She thinks that if she can just kick Dylan out of the building, she can kick her out of Will's life. But in the world of soaps, we know that usually backfires. In fact, Dylan basically laughed it off. She even hinted that if things get too toxic at Forrester, she could just go work for the Logans. Can you imagine the chaos that would cause? We are talking about a full-scale war between the families all over again. But wait, it gets even messier. There is a huge secret hanging over all of this that most people have forgotten. Do you remember when Ivy Forrester tried to bribe Dylan to leave town? She literally threw cash in her face and told her to get lost. Dylan is finally starting to speak up about it. And when Will and Electra find out the full truth, they are going to be absolutely stunned. This betrayal by Ivy is the interference Will keeps complaining about. It makes you wonder if Will and Electra would even be apart right now if people hadn't been meddling in their business. And that is the tragedy of it. Will is out here hooking up with Dylan to escape the drama. But the drama is exactly what drove him away from the woman he actually loves. It's a vicious cycle. From a psychological standpoint, Will is just looking for a path of least resistance. He wants something easy, something with no disturbances. But dating your ex's best friend is the opposite of easy. It's an emotional minefield. The funny thing is, while Will is making a mess of things, there are these crazy rumors about a double wedding at the Spencer estate. Imagine that. Bill proposing to Katie and Will proposing to Electra at the same time. It sounds like a dream, right? A fresh start for 2 generations of Spencers. But how can we even get there when Will is busy with Dylan? It feels like the show is dangling this perfect happy ending in front of us just to show us how far away they actually are from achieving it. Katie is firmly Team Electra, and she isn't going to let this Dylan situation slide. She sees through the fun, and the sweet and sour sexy sauce nickname Wyatt gave Dylan. She knows her son is hurting, and she knows that Dylan is just a temporary fix for a much deeper problem. Do you think Katie is right to meddle? Or should she let Will make his own mistakes? It's a tough call, but as a mom, she knows that the fallout from this is going to be brutal. And we can't ignore what else is happening in LA this week, because the forbidden comfort is everywhere. While Will is dealing with his mom, Ivy Forrester is leaning heavily on Carter Walton. Both of them are heartbroken. Steffi walked away from Finn after the disaster in Monaco, and Carter is reeling because Daphne left him. They were literally drinking together in the office, pouring their hearts out. Steffi just wants to be free of Sheila and the chaos, and Carter is right there to listen. But is this just another dangerous rebound? Some fans are already predicting a drunken night that leads to a pregnancy. It's the same pattern we see with Will. People are in pain, they feel alone, and they grab onto the nearest person for comfort without thinking about the consequences. Finn is frantically trying to get back to LA to save his marriage, but he might already be too late. If he walks in and finds Steffi with Carter, everything is going to change forever. It feels like everyone on the show is making these messy decisions right now. You have Finn racing against the clock, Electra lording her status over Dylan, and Katie demanding answers from her son. It's a pressure cooker. And let's not forget the other bombshells dropping, like Wyatt returning to town with a baby, or Shauna claiming she had Ridge's child in secret. It is like the writers are throwing every possible complication at these characters to see who survives. But at the center of it all is that one question Katie asked. Why is Will with Dylan? If he truly misses Electra, why is he doing this? Maybe he's just scared. Scared to be alone, scared to fight for what he really wants, or maybe he's just tired of the adversity they've been through. In my opinion, Will is making a huge mistake. You don't build a future by betraying the trust of the person you claim to love. Even if he and Electra were broken up, jumping into bed with her best friend is a line you just don't cross. It's disrespectful. And Dylan? She is definitely not as innocent as she acts. She claims she genuinely cares for Will, and just wants to see him smile. But she's also the one who is okay with betraying her best friend. That isn't a real friend. If she really cared about the situation, she would be helping them reunite, not taking advantage of the split. Do you think Dylan is actually a good person? Or is she just a master manipulator? Some fans think she might even be Luna returned under a different name. Now that would be a twist. Is Dylan actually Luna? Could the most dangerous villain in the history of Los Angeles be standing right in front of us? I'm talking about someone hiding behind the mask of a best friend. It sounds like a wild theory from a late-night chat room. But when you look at the absolute wreckage Dylan is causing in the Spencer family, you have to ask the question that is currently setting the internet on fire. Is Dylan actually Luna in disguise? Well, think about the timing for a second. It is almost too perfect, right? We just watched Luna exit the canvas in a whirlwind of madness. Then, almost immediately, this new woman named Melissa Dylan appears out of nowhere. She claims to be Electra Forrester's long-lost best friend. The funny thing is, in the world of soaps, coincidence is just a word writers use before they drop a nuclear-sized bombshell. Was Luna's body ever actually found? I don't think so. So, are we looking at a master manipulator who has returned to finish her obsession with the Spencer dynasty? It really makes you wonder what is actually going on in that beach house. The mystery starts with a simple poll that caught everyone's eye this week. It asked, is Luna really dead? That one question is the spark that lit the fuse for this entire theory. We all know the classic soap opera trope. A villain dies off-screen only to return with a new face or a new identity. If you look at Dylan's behavior, does it really match the profile of a loyal best friend? To me, it doesn't. She has swooped into Will Spencer's life with a predatory precision that feels eerily familiar. She didn't just support him through a breakup. She hopped into his bed before the ink on his and Electra's split was even dry. This isn't just hooking up, as Katie Logan so bluntly put it. This feels like a targeted strike. Dylan is acting like a woman who has a very specific goal. And that goal involves cementing herself at the center of the Spencer family. She doesn't care who she has to betray to get there. Doesn't that sound exactly like something Luna would do? Katie Logan seems to be the only person with her eyes wide open right now. This week, she finally cornered Will at the beach house. She gave him the kind of verbal reality check only a Logan mother can provide. She looked him right in the eye and demanded to know why he is hooking up with his ex's best friend if he still misses her. Katie is firmly Team Electra. She knows what real love looks like. And let's be honest, she can smell a fraud from a mile away. In my opinion, Katie's maternal instinct isn't just about protecting Will's heart. She is picking up on a wrongness in Dylan. But Will is too blinded by his own ego to see it. He is shrugging off his mother's warnings like they are just annoying noise. Psychologically, Will is in a very dangerous place. He is taking advice from his father, Bill, and his brother, Liam. Now think about that. Since when did Bill or Liam become the experts on healthy relationships? They treat women like interchangeable parts in a machine. They told him to move on and have fun. And Will is following that script to the letter. But when you follow a Spencer man's advice on romance, you usually end up in a disaster. Will thinks he is choosing fun over interference. He is actually walking right into a trap that might have been set by a ghost from his past. Let's talk about the most suspicious piece of this entire puzzle. I'm talking about the Ivy Forrester bribe. We recently learned that Ivy actually confronted Dylan. She threw cash in her face and demanded that she leave town immediately. This revelation has left both Will and Electra absolutely stunned. But ask yourself this. Why would Ivy Forrester care enough about a random bartender to try and bribe her out of the city? It doesn't make sense if Dylan is just a regular girl. Ivy is a woman of status and wealth. She wouldn't waste her time on a bartender unless that bartender was a threat. However, if Ivy found out that Dylan is actually a disguised or returned Luna, her actions make perfect sense. Ivy was likely trying to protect the family from a monster before the monster could settle in. The betrayal isn't just about the money. It's about the secret Dylan is keeping. And get this. Dylan is using this bribe to play the victim. She is making it look like the Forresters are interfering in her life. That only pushes Will closer to her. It's a brilliant move. By making Ivy look like the villain, Dylan is ensuring that Will defend her against his own family. Is she really that good? Or is she just lucky? Then there is Electra Forrester. She is not taking this betrayal lying down. She has gone from being a grieving ex-girlfriend to a full-on corporate powerhouse. And she has Dylan squarely in her sights. This week, Electra decided to remind Dylan exactly who holds the power at Forrester Creations. She cornered her and said, "I am Electra Forrester. If I want it, you're gone." Now some fans think Electra is being a toxic bully. But I see it differently. How would you feel if your best friend started sleeping with the man you love? Electra is acting out of a deep sense of betrayal. Dylan isn't even pretending to be sorry about it. In fact, Dylan is basically laughing in her face. She even told Electra that if things get too tense at Forrester, she could just go work for the Logans. That is a direct threat to the Forrester legacy. If Dylan is actually Luna, she knows exactly how to play the Logans and the Forresters against each other. She is using her position as a helpless bartender to ignite a war between the two most powerful families in LA. It's calculated, it's cold, and it's very Luna-esque. The psychological layer here is fascinating, because everyone is playing right into Dylan's hands. Electra is being pushed into a villain role. That only makes Dylan look more like the sweet alternative Will is looking for. But Dylan's claim that she genuinely cares for Will? To me, that feels like a scripted line from a horror movie. If you care about a person, you don't help them destroy their relationship with their mother. You don't jump into bed with your best friend's soulmate 5 minutes after a breakup. I don't care how rebound the culture is in LA. That is a line you just don't cross. Dylan's behavior screams obsession to me, not affection. And who was the most obsessed person we've seen in recent years? You guessed it, Luna. If Dylan isn't Luna, then she is definitely a top student of the Luna School of Manipulation. She is isolating Will from his support system. She is turning him against his mother and his ex. Soon he will have no one left but her. And that is exactly where a predator wants their prey. And let's look at the backdrop of all this chaos. There are rumors of a double wedding at the Spencer estate. The plan is for Bill to propose to Katie and Will to propose to Electra. It's supposed to be a celebration of love and a fresh start. But we all know how soap opera weddings work. The bigger the cake, the bigger the explosion. If Will is heading toward a proposal with Dylan instead of Electra, we are looking at a catastrophe. Can you imagine the fallout if they get to the altar and someone reveals the truth? Maybe Ivy or Katie finally finds proof that the bride is actually the woman who tried to destroy them all before. The secrets and past traumas mentioned in the spoilers are a huge red flag. It suggests that the past isn't staying in the past. It is walking through the front door and putting on a wedding dress. Do you think Will would even realize it before he said, "I do"? Or is he so desperate for a relationship with no disturbances that he would marry a stranger just to spite his family? While all this is happening, we also have the drama with Ivy Forrester and Carter Walton. They are both heartbroken and drinking heavily in the CEO office. Ivy wants to be free of Sheila. Carter is reeling from Daphne leaving him. This is the exact same pattern we are seeing with Will. People are in pain, they feel alone, and they grab onto the nearest person for comfort. They don't think about the consequences. Finn is racing back to LA to save his marriage. But he might be walking into a room where Steffi and Carter have already crossed the line. This bed-hopping culture is the perfect cover for someone like Dylan. In a city where everyone is constantly switching partners, a master manipulator can easily hide in plain sight. No one questions a new girl hooking up with a Spencer because that's just what happens on a Tuesday in LA. But this time feels different. It feels like the stakes are much higher than just a simple rebound. The fans are getting restless, and I can see why. The comments are full of people who are seeing through the act. Some are calling both Will and Dylan pathetic for their behavior. Others are pointing out that Dylan betraying her friendship with Electra is unforgivable. If Dylan really were Electra's friend, she would be helping her reconcile with Will. She wouldn't be taking his shirt off. The fact that she is so comfortable stepping into Electra's shoes suggests that she never valued the friendship at all. It was just a means to an end. It was a way to get close to the Spencers. If Dylan is Luna, she played the long game. She became the best friend, just to wait for the moment the relationship cracked. Then she slid right in. It's brilliant in a twisted way. But it's also terrifying. So what happens next? The week of August 17th to 21st is going to be packed with urgency and jealousy. Finn is racing against the clock. Electra is lording her status over Dylan. Katie is nagging Will for answers. It's a pressure cooker that is about to blow. My prediction? The double wedding will happen, but it won't end with "I do." It will end with "Who are you?" I think Dylan's true identity is the shocking secret that will overshadow everything. Whether she is actually Luna or just someone with a very dark connection to her, the truth is going to be devastating for Will. He is shrugging off Katie's warnings now, but he is going to regret that decision for the rest of his life. He wanted a relationship with no disturbances. Instead, he has invited a hurricane into his home. And once that hurricane hits, there won't be anything left of the Spencer family peace. Whatever happens next, we know it's going to be explosive. The week of August 17th to 21st is packed with urgency and jealousy. We are heading toward a workplace feud that could divide Forrester Creations and a romantic scandal that could destroy the Spencer family peace. Will is shrugging off the warnings for now, but he's walking right into a trap. And as the sun sets over Los Angeles, that glittering venue for a double wedding seems further away than ever. The secrets are coming out, the past traumas are resurfacing, and love might not be enough to survive the chaos this time around. So what do you think? Is Will Spencer just a young guy having fun? Or has he officially lost his way? And what about Electra? Is she right to threaten Dylan's job? Or is she totally overstepping? I want to know your thoughts. Are you Team Electra or Team Dylan? This drama is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a single second. If you love these deep dives and want more bold and the beautiful commentary, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, so you're the first to know when the next spoiler drops. We do this every single day, so stay tuned for more. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.